Are we rolling?
We are.
Hi, I'm Jenna Fisher,
I'm Angela Kinsey,
and we were on The Office together.
and we're best friends. And this is The Office Lady. I'm Alex Miller. This is my brother Tim. We're twins, and this is Twinfluence. Let's get started. How was your commute into our studio?
It was literally terrible. I hate driving here. It took me an hour, and traffic was fucking terrible.
Any near hits?
Not for me.
Ran stoplights?
No, I don't run stoplights because I'm a very good driver. Anymore.
But alright, let's
Okay,
dive
let's
in.
dive
Dive
in.
in. Oh wait, I want to fix my camera
Oh my god.
so that we can see it. Okay, let's dive in.
Okay, I want to start with something very important to my
you
heart.
could start first.
I want to start with all the Chapel Brown discourse. Oh, we're a podcast that I don't think we talked about what we talk about. Where we talk about pop culture and other things that interest us.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I want to talk about Chapel Brown because I love Chapel Brown. And first of all,
Everyone was at the Met Gala. What'd you think of her outfit?
It didn't stand out to me. I felt like
I hated
it
it.
was so hard. I had to literally Google her outfit because it was like not coming up.
Really? I saw it immediately.
No, I didn't.
I saw this TikTok. This janitor guy at the Met Gala was bitching about, I gotta sweep up all this glitter on the floor from after Chapel Roan.
Okay, that's his job.
That's his job. That's what he gets paid to do.
Anyway, I had to literally Google Chapel Roan Met Gala.
It was not good.
It wasn't any different than like anyone else was wearing. They're all wearing like these like weird. Now I don't want to say weird because they were like fine, but these like suits. You know what I mean?
They all like. I thought the theme was men. I thought
it wasn't.
But based off how everyone was dressed, I thought the theme was like man or tuxedo, because everyone was in like a tuxedo-looking dress or like this, pinstripe tuxedos, or it was. That's what I thought the theme was.
It was, yeah. I wish there was more. I guess diversity among the outfits, but
then there's like the thing that's like everyone wanted to just play it safe because of the theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it seems that was the case.
Yeah. Nothing stood out to me at the
No,
Met Gala.
But moving on, no one cares about the Met Gala. No one watches it. Okay. So let's move on.
Back to what I was saying. Yeah. I'm sick of the Chapel Brown discourse, and I feel like we need to leave her alone. Do you know what the latest thing was about?
Her comments about mothers aren't happy?
No, that's not the latest thing. It was because she's on RuPaul's Drag Race as a guest judge.
Okay.
And
fitting for her.
And she was wearing like a blow-up doll. It's like her costume.
Oh, that's funny.
Exactly. You would think, and all these people are like upset, and it's like, if a contestant wore that, you would be like, oh wow, that's
like right up Drag Race's alley.
Exactly. And it's like, it's because everything she does is she's like hold to a different standard. And I feel like it's because she's not only a new rising female star, but because she's like such an open lesbian and queer artist.
No, I don't.
No, I think it is. I think it is. I think if she wasn't an outspoken woman,
I think the problem is she is outspoken, and then people always have a problem with you if you're outspoken, because they are always going to want you to be outspoken about the one thing you're not outspoken about. Like, the internet's just never satisfied.
And I think that there's such a lack of, like, I guess, media literacy. And every interview she does is taken out of context.
That's true.
And I feel like she's done such a disservice by not only fans, but the media, because they're so willing to tear a woman down. And I feel like all of the Chapel Brown hate needs to be doubled and given to Benson Boone.
What did he do?
He just doesn't belong in the industry.
Because he's like a poser. Well, I feel like more artists should speak less. And I think part of Chapel's problem is she's always got a gripe.
And I love that about her.
At the end of the day, you gotta be happy about where you are. Like, you're a multimillionaire now. Like
she's not a multimillionaire.
The gripes gotta stop. Yes, she is.
I do not believe for a second that she's a multimillionaire.
I do. Let's look it up right now. Let's see.
I love how we just immediately jumped into something that was so, like, what are we even talking about?
Is Chappell Roan a multimillionaire?
No. She's been famous for 5 seconds.
Searching the web. Yes, Chappell Roan is considered a multimillionaire as of early 2025. Her net worth is estimated to between $6 and $10 million, according to various sources. What are those sources, you asked?
AI Overview.
UAVA, the Famous Wealth and Celebrity Network.com.
But those are wrong, typically.
They're wrong, but they're not $6 to $10 million wrong.
Chappell,
maybe
please.
She's only worth 3 or 4.
We need Chappell on the pod to clear it up.
We do. Chappell, come on, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see some bank accounts. Let's see the receipts. Her debut album has sold over 110,000 copies. That's not that much.
No, it's not.
Good Luck Babe was quadruple platinum status with over 1 billion streams.
Wow.
Her annual earnings are $500,000. So that wouldn't put her at 10 million, but
I wouldn't either.
So let's say maybe she's worth 2 or 3.
I don't know.
That's still multi-millionaire status.
I don't know. I don't believe it.
She can afford fucking healthcare now. That's for damn sure.
But that doesn't mean she shouldn't be allowed to speak up for those who can't.
But be grateful where you are is all I have to say.
Why can't she be grateful for where she is, but also acknowledge the downfalls of the industry?
She can acknowledge the downfalls of the industry, but there's never an ending sense of I made it, but there's people who aren't making it. It's just like her mindset's as if she's still there. Because she's not there anymore.
Because she just recently became successful, and she also knows that success can leave at any moment, is what I infer.
I disagree.
I am a Chappell Roan stan.
I'm a Chappell Roan stan too. I love Chappell Roan. I love the songs nobody knows.
Okay. You want a medal?
Yeah. A gold medal. I want a pink medal.
Okay.
Chappell Roan.
But I just think she gets so much unnecessary hate.
I think it's a little extra, yeah, but I think some of it is.
I think it's because she's a queer woman, and that's why it's so amplified. And just because she's a woman in general.
No, I don't think so. Maybe it's because she's a ginger.
Okay, well, that's valid. No, I'm kidding.
Moving on, unless you have more to say about Chappell Roan.
No.
What else do you have? I have some. Do you want to go on to Katy Perry since to stick on the...
Speaking of pop stars that deserve hate.
Pop stars that deserve hate. Katy Perry claims she, quote, does not sing like that. What's your reaction?
Okay.
As you react, I have a reaction.
First of all, she's continuously missing the mark. And just every decision she has made recently has been like exactly what she should not be doing. For her to pull out this guitar and to make it seem like, oh wow, she's finally in on the joke. She finally is with it. Maybe this could be like a turning point for her. And then to stop halfway through the bit and to say, I don't sing like that, after singing identical to how she sings in the video, is crazy. And how can you tell people that you don't sing that way when they are, most of the times I see it on TikTok or the clip, it's from her recording of it. It's like, yeah, I see people mimicking it, but it's mostly her. So it's just like she's just constantly missing the mark. and just going to space with her fucking Daisy. Get the fuck out of here.
They say that she spent more time looking at the camera than she did looking out at the space.
Probably.
They timed it out, and she was looking into the camera for more seconds than looking at, because they're only up there for like 4 minutes. Anyway, I want to play something, and then you tell me if she really sings like that.
The lyrics make no sense.
Hard candy with a summer prize center. She sings like that.
Yeah. Katy Perry, you will never be Alanis Morissette. That's all I have to say.
Katy Perry, you will always be nothing.
Oh my god. She didn't used to be nothing. She, remember in like 2000.
7-hit wonder one time. Move on.
She used to be, I used to love Katy Perry when I was like 8.
Everyone used to love Katy Perry when they were 8.
And now she's just making, horrible decisions, working with like Dr. Luke.
Alright, moving on from Katy Perry. Lizzo.
The only thing I want to say about that interview.
I have a lot of thoughts on the Lizzo interview.
First of all, I love Lizzo, and I am a Lizzo stan. But Lizzo recently did an interview with Z-Way. I love Z-Way. But anyway, the only takeaway from that interview was she seemed really manic to me. But
no, she's always like that.
I guess. I don't know. There was a bit that they did where she asked her who's worse, Boomers or Gen Z, and she said that Boomers ruined
I was gonna ask you
the planet or something.
But she said
Gen Z is going to ruin it again. And I think as a Gen Z, that's horrible. And I think the young Gen Zs, sure, they are questionable. But as the older Gen Z, I feel like I am not ruining the planet.
My question is, who is your fan base if not Gen Z?
Exactly.
Not fucking millennials.
Right. Well, maybe millennial like moms or something. I love Z-Way.
I don't really like Z-Way.
Canceled.
I hated the furry look.
Oh, her ears?
The ears.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
It's like a furry look, like a cat ear. I hated that.
Okay, I don't know if it goes that far.
She mentioned the lawsuit, but she didn't.
Yeah, she didn't.
But this is where Z-Way failed. Z-Way's supposed to be the girl that goes there, and she didn't ask about it.
She was probably told not to.
I don't know. I would say she didn't bring up the bullying allegations. She didn't bring up the Ozempic allegations. She didn't bring up like the lawsuit at all explicitly. Like, those are 3 loser points. Like, this was a loser interview, in my opinion, on Z-Way's side. She didn't go there. Those are the big 3 things people want to talk about. They want to know, you're all for... They talked about body positivity, but she didn't say, oh, but now you're doing Ozempic. Oh, you talked to, like, being obese was, like, your shtick, and now you're all on Ozempic and you're not obese anymore.
Well, we don't know what was cut, and we don't know how, if she asked them, how she would have reacted.
Just saying. I don't think... Speaking of, she said Lizzo is now body neutral.
She did say that. I clocked that, too.
What does that mean?
Yeah, she's not body positive.
She's not body positive anymore. She's body neutral.
Because
and that
she's
made
losing the weight. It's the classic pipeline of like a
been there, done that.
Fat celebrity.
No, been there, done that.
A fat celebrity loses the weight, and now they're like, hate fat people. They're like you.
So that prompted me to ask you, are you body positive or body neutral?
I'm body positive.
I'm body negative.
Can you elaborate? You hate all bodies?
All bodies. Yes.
Kill everyone.
Everyone has something to feel shame about.
For sure. What's your biggest insecurity?
My stomach.
On Humble Brag, which I love, with Crystal and Cynthia. It's Crystal and Cynthia's podcast from Real Housewives. Cynthia, whenever she's on podcast or whenever someone goes on their podcast, she always asks what their biggest insecurity is. She was on Nene's show recently, and she asked Nene what her biggest insecurity was, and Nene said, I don't have any. And I just think that that's wonderful for her.
I wish.
Mine's also my stomach.
She said also, Z-Way asked Lizzo, is there a weight that will please people? And Lizzo said there isn't one. And I just like to say literally.
I agree. Well, especially when you're famous. It's like Britney says, I'm too big now. She's too big now. She's too thin.
Miss, she's too big now. She's too thin. You want a piece of me, piece of me. They did a Chapel name drop in the interview.
Yeah, they did.
What else? Mitch McConnell being Franklin the Turtle. Yes, I thought that was 100% accurate. The bruised man that fell. 100% accurate. I forgot to look up. They mentioned the measles. I had something I wanted to reference.
It's in Chicago. Did you see that? The measles outbreak has reached Chicago.
I did not see that.
Yeah. This was like recent.
All I know is it's a bunch of Mennonites.
Oh, that tracks.
That they don't vaccinate their children.
That's why we're pro-vaccination.
Mostly.
Okay.
I do like the song Still Bad and Love in Real Life.
Me too.
I do like Lizzo's music.
Me too. I love her special album, and I wish I got to see it live, but literally she got canceled really close around that time.
I'm glad she's no longer a vegetarian. She mentioned she's no longer a vegetarian.
Yeah.
I support that. Oh, this is funny. So this segues to what I want to say. She talked about how polar bears, when she sees polar bears swimming, it breaks her heart.
Me too.
And that prompts me to say, we did it! We did it! We solved global warming. It's over. It's over. We did it. Antarctica has
shut the fuck up.
It's growing ice for the first time in 20 years. It has grown in mass. We have done it. We solved it. It's a great time.
I didn't see this, so I'm not going to comment on it. I think global warming is real. I believe in climate change. I believe in science.
Well, what we're doing is working. Let me pull it up.
I don't believe the dire wolves being recreated.
Oh, yeah.
Conservation.
No, they're not real dire wolves. It's just...
I know.
It's just gray wolves.
What about the actual
It's just GMO gray wolves.
And what about, polar bears or the African elephants? Did you know African elephants are severely endangered because people poach them?
Ivory.
And
yeah,
ivory.
These are true, but here's the thing. There's a difference between conservation and...
I want to say something really quickly.
Yeah.
If you own anything that's ivory, that came from an elephant, and they had to kill that elephant so that you could have that ivory item.
Or they found it dead.
No, they killed it.
What do they do with the dead elephants at the zoo?
They leave them. Oh, at the zoo? They're not getting weak-ass zoo elephant ivory. They're getting...
They want the little baby one.
Babies don't... They want... No, I actually read a whole book on elephants. Read the book Elephant Memories. They killed the biggest elephants, which is typically the matriarch of the family. So they kill her, and then they take her tusks, and then her family that depends on her is scattered because they no longer have this matriarch to lead them. So her calves will basically probably die depending on how young they are. And then her younger sisters and stuff, or younger daughters, will be left without a leader. So one of them will have to step up, and they usually aren't as good.
And I agree, and I think there's real global challenges to conservation. Here's this story that it says, Antarctica's astonishing rebound. Ice sheets grows for the first time in decades. This is an April 29, 2025 article by SciTech Daily. So there you have it. We did it.
We did it, Joe.
Also, I have and speaking of, I have a quick thing about. They say beagle testing is over. They released the beagles. FDA commissioner announced he was going to do this. Marty McKay, he said no more animal. He said no more animal testing. It's for preclinic, because I'm an expert now. I took a whole class on it. Before a drug,
you mean ChatGPT took a class on it?
Excuse you, I took the class. Before a drug even starts its clinical trials, you get an IND process, that's investigational new drug application. You have you need to do preclinical studies, and you do those on animal testing subjects typically. He's saying that's really not necessary. You don't need to do that anymore because they're really ineffective to show anything to begin with. So he's eliminating that.
You should just do all the tests on human volunteers.
That's what it's shifting to, because that's what the clinical trials are. So he's saying you don't really need preclinical trials anymore for animal testing. So he's phasing out animal testing, and the beagles are the first to stop.
But fuck every other dog.
No, beagles are the dog that they use are beagles.
Don't they?
Because they're extremely obedient.
Oh, that's dark.
Yeah.
And they feed them the product, right?
Yeah, they administer the drugs to the beagles, whatever it is.
Yeah, I used to think there was a TikTok that said this too, and I used to think the same thing.
Animal tested is they wear the makeup
they
and
put the
stuff.
Makeup on the pigs instead of feeding it to the pig. I thought they were literally
lipstick on a pig.
No, literally. I thought that's where the saying came from.
No, yeah. But my kind of thought is from a research background, it's there's certain things that you need animals for. I worked in a research clinic that used mice.
I was about to ask that.
And it was
ethical?
Is that ethical?
Aren't mice sentient beings? And I have something that I want to talk about.
Well, I guess that I would think it's legally ethical, yes.
But
it abides
is it
the law.
Morally ethical to test on mice and then kill them immediately after once you're done?
I would say yes, because in the ranking of morals, human beings comes first, and specifically in the research we were doing, we were testing. It was reproductive research, taking those studies to try and benefit humans, specifically females that have reproductive issues. Preventing cancer, that's some of the goals that the lab I worked in had. Prevent cancer, prevent the endometriosis. So those are long-term beneficial goals, and if you have to use mice that only live 2 years.
But then they kill them immediately after they're bred, and then simply to be tested on, and then they're killed immediately after.
And some are killed before they're tested on because they're not good test subjects, and I had to cull those.
Yeah, and isn't that kind of dark?
But you're born. That's kind of why they're born, though. They're specifically born to be tested.
But then that can go all the way to cattle and stuff. There's cattle.
There are cattle that.
Exactly, there are cattle that are born just to be killed, but that's
livestock.
And
but those cattle feed people.
Exactly. They have I'm not saying that the tests are we shouldn't do them.
Because because the whole point is animals.
I don't really have a point.
You should have high welfare.
Yeah.
For animals.
Yeah.
And they do a lot. There are a lot of regulations to make sure that, the mice don't just sit in empty cages. They have to have some type of enrichment. They have to be fed daily. They have to be watered daily. They have certain social parameters and stuff like that. They're usually kept together if possible with other mice. And they usually have some form of enrichment. So there's things like that. So they're not in an empty cage all alone, and they're not. Same with cattle, especially the shift.
Well, there's some
are more factory farms, and that's problematic, and that depends on the state that you're in. And that is something that I believe we need more advocacy on. But big agriculture, they don't like that.
What do you think of that lady that took the crabs and boiled them or something? She air fried them alive. I think
I didn't see that personally.
I didn't see the video personally, but I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I think that I just think it's so crazy that we like kill like crabs and crawfish and lobsters like in your home to eat.
I don't.
I think that's crazy.
I mean, I don't eat any of that.
I don't eat it. I do like a crab rangoon, but
ew.
But I think I don't do it either, and I don't think I could do it. I think it's crazy that you boil these animals alive. I think that is unethical, and I don't get like why can't we purchase these animals that are like killed ethically? Why isn't there a way to kill them without
like an ethics label?
Like why do they have to be purchased live? Why? Like I feel like that should not be allowed.
I think it's just cultural marketing. I don't know. I agree. I don't know. And I don't know. Next.
You're like, Jenna.
Stop spinning. Clumsy slut.
Oh my god.
Do you have a topic, or should I pivot to my next
have
topic?
A few that
I only have one topic.
About. I have two left. Let's talk about Blake Lively.
Oh gosh.
Fuck her. No, I'm kidding.
Lively.
Is her lawsuit still going?
It's still going. Taylor Swift was just subpoenaed in it.
Wow.
So I haven't fully looked into it. I don't know if it means that she's going to have to I'm assuming she's going to be called in for a full deposition.
I will.
Means she's going to have to like sit down for 3 hours and testify. And I also know that they've been going after her text messages between Blake Lively.
I think
all because she's lying.
Well, is she?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's clearly lying. I think greatly exaggerating.
But is it her or is it her husband that's just using her?
I think she's doing it for her husband because she's trying to save face.
I think that it's Ryan Reynolds steering the ship and that
really?
She's going along with that to save face.
I don't think she's a damsel in distress that submits to what her husband does. I think she's arrogant, ignorant, and she thinks
could all be true.
That she fucked up and she's covering it up through this to save face with her husband.
I also think that she is getting a lot of hate because there is a smear campaign that was done against her by Justin Baldoni.
There wasn't a smear campaign. That's the allegation. But then
no, there was proof that he literally hired people to do it.
That proof was disproven.
And then he hired Johnny Depp's PR team, and what they did to Amber Heard was really disgusting.
But she got hate because of her own actions. All her criticisms were like she's promoting her
like Lively.
Yeah, like she's promoting her products.
Well, yeah, well that's valid.
That's what she was getting hate on. It was her own actions.
I don't like Lively.
It's a fake allegation, I think.
But then stuff like that, I feel like we should still take it seriously, and I feel like because you could dislike her for stuff she's done, like in making terrible decisions and putting her fashion line in her hair products, like even in this new movie where she looks crazy,
horrible. Another Simple Favor.
And
I still kind of want to see it though.
I already saw the endings on TikTok.
Oh.
So I never saw the first one anyway.
Oh, I saw the first one. I loved the first one. I used to watch it like on the regular.
I was never a Blake Lively fan.
No, for Anna Kendrick. Blake Lively can't act.
Yeah. That's another thing.
She's not a good actress, and that's probably why she's trying to branch out and be like control the movies, because she has no directions when she's acting, because she can't act.
Yeah, I just think that can take the allegations seriously, whether we believe them or not.
I don't believe
versus
them.
acknowledging that like she's not a very good person.
She's not a good person.
It's still possible that she is a victim.
Well, I actually don't know.
Acknowledge...
I don't necessarily think she's not a good person. I think she's just making all of this up and is lying.
She's a questionable person, let's say. And I don't think she's necessarily lying. And I definitely think, based on the recording that his team put out in the world, his voice memo was creepy as hell. And it definitely shows that there is an inappropriate relationship.
I think there was an inappropriate relationship, but I think it was a mutual inappropriate relationship.
Sure.
Because the text messages show that.
For sure.
That's all I want to say. I don't want to spend a lot of time on them. We have a lot to get to.
I think we're almost done, actually.
No.
Oh, should we talk about Bethany?
Bethany of it all?
Yeah, the Bethany of it all.
Mention it all! Mention it all!
I say this as a former Bethany stan.
I'm a current Bethany
and I
stan.
Still follow her.
I love Bethany.
I think that she acts like she's too cool for Housewives, but it's like all she talks about now is Housewives. Because she knows that
she's too cool, but that's how she
hear.
Gets her clicks.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like she acts like it's beneath her.
Luann. Okay, Luann. That's what Luann says, that all she does is talk about Housewives.
It is. And she
talks about chicken salad.
She talks about food, but she
talks about the drones in the sky. She talks about... What else does she talk about?
She talks about...
Chanel. The Chanel of it all.
That in Chicago.
In Chicago. I walk past it all the time right by my school.
I just think that it's like, if you're going to talk about it, don't act like you're above it. And I feel like she really bites the hand that feeds her for the sake of a click. And I just feel like, you know, she does acknowledge that the show is really good.
Andrew Cohen's kind of an asshole, and that he did her dirty.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that she has to shit on all the other women and all the other franchises.
But they all come at her all the time, just as much as she puts Housewives
I don't think so.
in her mouth. They put Bethany in their mouth because it gives them the same clip.
The only one I see do it are like
Luann, Ramona.
Luann and Bethany are beef, though.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair.
Luann and Ramona.
Okay, Ramona's always wrong. Anyway.
But then Bethany is always talking about Jill now.
Exactly.
And that's kind of like, I don't know. Jill's like this little old lady.
No.
Sweet old lady.
No. Jill is just as thirsty.
Thirsty Jill. But she's never harmed anyone. Alright, we got a lot of Bethany to talk about. We could save her.
Okay. She's unfortunately not going anywhere.
She's on my list of collabs, so we can't say too much. Love Bethany.
We love Bethany.
Love Bethany.
Bethany, we'll see you soon.
See you soon. Okay, so let's do Love It or Hate It. Do you have yours? I have mine. Love it or hate it, slut shaming.
Hate it.
Hate it?
Yeah.
See,
I feel like
I'm torn.
Be a slut if you want to be a slut. I feel like it's 2025. You have that right.
So a week ago, I would have said love it because, and here's where I got this. What made me think of it? Because they tell you when you're young, go out and have your fun. Then they hunt and shame the ones that actually do it.
Is that a Taylor Swift lyric?
It is. And I'm like, that's so true.
But the only shots you miss are the ones you never take. Or what is it? The only shots you never miss are the ones you... What?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But then, and I'm like, I in general, I support slut shaming, specifically if you bring up your sluttiness, like, I will shame you for it. I don't think it's something you should brag about.
I think if you're trying to do it to seem cool, then it's it's like, be a slut or don't. But don't pretend like you are to be cool. I think that's my take on it.
Really? Anyway, with the new Pope, from Chicago. I was thinking
Chicago
from
Catholics represent.
Chicago Catholics. He's from Dalton. White Sox fans, shout out White Sox.
White Sox. This is not sponsored.
This is not sponsored by White Sox or the Pope.
Or
the Vatican does not sponsor this episode.
But we should.
I was thinking, no, I still love it.
What?
Love it or hate. I was going to say maybe like we shouldn't be so judgmental.
Yeah.
Only he is to judge. But I don't think that's true. I think God has created us in his image to judge others accordingly. That's what the whole Bible is about, is to judge others.
No.
So I love it.
No, it's not. Didn't you just say only he could judge? But then you just said God created the Bible so that we can judge others. But that is contradictory to what the Bible says and to what you said. And I'm not a religious person.
I didn't write the book.
You didn't read it either.
I didn't read the book.
Okay, great. Let's end it there.
Love it or what else? I forget.
Love it or hate it. The Bible.
Love it.
But you haven't read it, so how can you love something you've never read? And you don't own one, do you? But you need one.
I do own one. It's on that shelf.
Unopened.
It's not unopened. Alright.
Me.
Hate it, AI.
I hate it.
I love it.
I think AI is a direct link to, well, I won't say that. But I'll just say
what?
To you know what. And I just think that
global warming, we solved it.
Well, that, but also I think that it lowers everyone's IQ and it eliminates critical thinking because first of all, it's like,
let's ask AI.
No, that's not, because it takes so much water just to generate
water.
Yes, it takes so much because it overheats itself. It requires so much power to make your little chart or whatever the fuck, and it needs a lot of water to cool it down, to cool the system down, and it's just, I think the cost outweighs the benefit. I think that is not worth it for what it's being used for, and I think AI can be helpful. I'm not going to say that AI is totally worthless.
It's extremely helpful.
I'm not going to go that far. I think it can be helpful if it's used properly, and I think it's when it's given to the public is not a useful way to use it, and I think the only reason they're doing that is so that they can mine our data, and then also use us as free labor to test it out.
It's definitely free labor to test it. But I will say, when I was at the doctor, it didn't even...
Okay, but can you imagine if your doctor was like, let me ask ChatGPT if a red throat with these swollen tonsils is a sign of strep throat.
No, because it's a doctor.
Exactly.
And she had to ask a strep throat test.
But that's what's going to be our future, is all of these...
I didn't anyway. Can I tell my story? Can I speak for once? I was at the doctor. I didn't even think to ask the doctor my question while we were waiting for the test, and she was on her little computer typing stuff. I just asked ChatGPT my question while I was sitting there. I didn't even think to ask the doctor.
Where did ChatGPT go to school for their medical degree? They didn't.
The internet.
This is a disgrace. I am ashamed. I am ashamed.
Alright. That's all I have for love it or hate it, I think. I had another one, but I forgot it.
Love it or hate it? Doodles.
Doodles?
Doodles. Golden doodles specifically, but really any doodle.
Hate it.
Me too. They're like the most evil dog breed I've ever encountered.
Just get the dog breed you want. Doodles are designed for sick or weak children.
Okay.
That can't.
If you have a golden doodle, it's because you're
just get
weak.
The golden retriever. Just get. What else do they make? Just get the Labrador. Just get the golden retriever. Just get the. I forget what else there is. It's just like for hypogenic, and it's just lame.
I meant more like the breed is aggressive, and they're huge.
They're not that big.
Golden Doodles are.
They're the same size as like golden retrievers.
No.
Anyway, now it's time for our fifth and final segment, Moral Dilemma. This is the segment where you can write in to our show, Moral Dilemma at twinfluence.net. A moral dilemma you're having, and we will answer it on the show. Did I miss something?
I zoned out, so I don't know.
Okay. So we have a listener. She wrote in. She said, "Hi, Twinfluence. I'm a huge fan. My moral dilemma is that I think she meant my coworker doesn't wash his hands, and it's fucking disgusting. My desk is right next to the bathroom, and every time they go in there, I never hear the sink turn on. Not even once. It's a huge hygiene issue, and also it's nasty as fuck. What should I do? Signed."
Fucking say it.
Tiny Tina from Chicago.
Great question.
What do you think Tiny Tina should do? I think Tiny Tina has a few different options. Option number one is everyone always has this option, and that is to do nothing. Option number two, you confront him directly and you say, "Oh, here's what you could do." It's really kind of creative. When you see him come out of the bathroom next, you could say, "Well, hey, is there any more paper towel in there? Like, does it need to be restocked?" Like something like that along those lines.
Like shame him?
Not like shame him, but it's like,
because he'll be like,
if he doesn't have an answer, that means he didn't wash his hands because he didn't have to dry his hands, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of get that, and if he doesn't know, then you could be like, "Oh, you didn't dry your hands after you washed them," and maybe he'll admit he didn't wash his hands, or maybe he'll lie. So that's maybe you could get it out of him that way. Another thing you could do is, go to your supervisor directly and raise the issue, because hygiene is important. Another thing you could do, as this is what I learned in my class, is every organization should have a hotline that you can call and you can report,
or like a suggestion box, you would think.
Yeah, so find that hotline at your work, 1-800 whatever, call it and be like, "My coworker's not washing his hands and it's nasty."
Yeah.
Any insights?
I think that, I mean, what can you do really? Because you can't control other people's lives, and it's like, you gotta pick your battles, and it's like, is it really worth it to say anything? Or is it more fun to just like talk shit behind their back? I'm speaking.
Mr. Vice President, I am speaking.
What? Okay. What was I gonna say? I just think it's weird that they wouldn't wash their hands, because I'm constantly washing my hands, like all the time. So, and I just,
me too.
And I feel like I don't,
especially like when I get to work, I wash my hands. When I'm leaving, I wash my hands. Every time I use my bathroom, I wash my hands.
Right. I'm constantly washing my hands. So I just feel like it's weird, and I feel like it's, especially when you're working with other people, regardless of what your job is, like, you're going to be touching stuff that other people are going to touch, or like you're handling papers, other people are going to handle those, and it's just disgusting. Especially in like a post-COVID world, I would think that we would at least wash our hands. And I think it's really disrespectful. I think that
look up the OSHA violation, pull it up to your supervisor.
But there's only what if like nothing will happen because of it though? You can't rely on that supervisors unless it's like a bunch of people complain. And maybe Tiny Tina's the only one that is aware, or maybe her department.
Tiny Tina, you should start spreading the rumor that he doesn't wash his hands. You should tell other people.
Yeah.
Maybe someone else will say something.
Or maybe you guys put up a sign that's like employees must wash hands.
There's no sign. I would think there should be a sign. Yeah. Tiny Tina, make the sign, print it out, and put it in the bathrooms.
Yeah. Great. I think that's solved.
All right, great. I think that's all we have for today. Thank you for listening to Twinfluence. I'm your host, Alex Miller.
Not the first and last name.
This is my co-host, Tim.
Oh my god. Okay, first of all, the co-host, but without me, there would be no twin for the Twinfluence.
Be sure to subscribe to our show, Twinfluence, wherever you get your podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, YouTube. Music, apparently, is where I don't know, I looked up, where do Android people get their podcasts? Apparently, it's YouTube Music. Don't quote me on that. That was ChatGPT.
And follow us on TikTok.
Follow us on TikTok at TwinFluencePod. Follow us on YouTube or I guess you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Twinfluence.
And subscribe to our Twitch. We're going to be twinching.
We are going to be twinching. Keep an eye out for that.
Twitching.
Stop. Keep an eye out for that in the upcoming weeks. And thank you. Have a great day.